Hello, Wilson Community School members. This is Tim Carter, Superintendent of Wilson Central School Districts, with message and updates for Friday, August 20th, 2021. Wow, can't believe we're a couple weeks away from the opening of school. So this message is really about reopening and the reopening plan. As I said in previous message, the reopening team has been meeting over the last 2 weeks and coming up with, what we believe is the best possible option for our school to reopen in a safe manner. So included in this email or message going out to the community is a letter from me sort of summarizing some of the highlights of reopening for this school year, which I'll go over in a moment. And it will also included is the 30-page reopening document, which is a lot more detailed about reopening. So here I go. So the Wilson Central School District's primary commitment to all of its students, its staff, and its family, its serve is to make sure that we open school in a safe and secure manner. We are focusing this year on opening schools 5 days a week, in-person instruction. So that's the first highlight of this reopening plan, is that at the time of this publishing, which official publishing is going to be Tuesday, August 24th, because that's when the presentation for the reopening plan will go to the board, and then it will be adopted. So it'll be officially published on our district website at that point. And our commitment is to open up 5 days a week in person for all of our students pre-K to grade 12. So I want to talk a little bit about remote instruction. So fully remote instruction will only be approval based upon case-by-case situation and medical condition. So if your child has a medical condition, or if somebody in the family has a medical condition that precludes them from being able to be in person, as I sent out in a previous email, there is a form that needs to be filled out, and along with that, a doctor's note. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you need an explanation into that, you can call our student services at 751-3200 extension 130. But remote instruction is a case-by-case basis, and if you have any questions about that, again, call that number. We will have some remote instruction for quarantine isolations, and that'll be at the discretion of the Wilson Central School District. So I may call a classroom to remote for a certain period of time, but for the most part, all of our remote students, anyone who is a medically remote student, they'll have to apply for that, be approved by our doctor, and their instruction is going to be primarily asynchronous. It's almost like a home medical doctor, if somebody has a home hospital situation going on. So that's for remote. Health screens. The CDC no longer recommends doing temperature screens or health questionnaires at school. So we are going to eliminate those health screenings and those temperature checks at school. So in the morning, we just ask parents to just check your child's for symptoms and signs, and if they're all set, ready to go, and not sick, please send them to school. If they're exhibiting any of the signs of COVID-19, please keep them home until they're feeling better. Staff, it'll be the same thing. Staff, we are not going to be starting our days out taking the temperature checks or the health screen. You won't have to check your classrooms before homeroom, because those are all eliminated for this school year. We just ask, if you are exhibiting any signs, please stay home and come back when you're feeling better. Another question that probably popped up, it's not in the letter, but it is in the plan, is if your child gets sent home because they're sick. Last year, in order for them to return, they needed to go see a doctor and have a doctor's note or a negative COVID test. Those are one of the options this year. So this year, if your child is sent home, we just ask that before they return, there's a resolution of all symptoms. So they're no longer having the symptoms. So I know the elementary does a resolution of symptoms for 24 hours. So if they have the stomach flu, they have a fever, they need to be out 24 hours until the resolution of the symptoms before they return. And that's a good rule of thumb for the high school and middle school too. So if they're sent home from school, if they're feeling better, just make sure there's a resolution of symptoms before they come back. You can also have the option of doing a negative COVID test or a doctor's note. So that's how we're going to handle that for this year. Again, please stay in touch with the nurses. Our nurses in our school do a great job keeping our kids healthy and safe. So if there's any concern or issue, please don't hesitate to contact them. Transportation. Pursuant to CDC order, there's going to be no physical distancing on buses, so therefore we are going to be able to have all of our students take the buses that parents want transportation. But please keep in mind that school buses are considered public transportation. Therefore, there is a CDC order out there that says all public transportation, drivers and passengers need to be masked in order to get on the bus. So if you're going to send your child on the bus, the time period they're on the bus, they're going to need to be masked for that entire time period. Our cleaning and sanitation schedule is going to not change for next year, so we're going to continue to clean high-touch surfaces and sanitize all rooms at the end of the day prior to returning the next day. We are also going to, if we happen to have a positive case, we'll follow the same procedure with quarantines, follow the Department of Health's guidance. They do all of the guidance on quarantines and self-isolations. If there's a positive case, we will sanitize classrooms before returning a class back into that room. So that process will not be any different for next year. Now masks, which is probably the $25,000 question and the reason I probably received most of the emails over the last 2 weeks. So this is what I can tell this is what I can say the reopening team came up with. If we continue to be given the option of local control, the Wilson Central School District will have masks recommended in hallways and in classrooms, and it's just a recommendation. So if a child wants to wear a mask, they can wear a mask. If the child chooses not to wear the mask, or the parent chooses not to have the child wear the mask, they won't have to wear the mask. Now again, that's only if it remains up to local control. There's a lot of conversation out there that by the time even our board meeting on the 24th or shortly thereafter, there's going to be a mandate coming down from the state saying that masks are going to be allowed to be or have to be in schools. I can't do anything about a state level mandate. One person, one community, you need to push, make sure that our local representatives are doing and making sure that our voices are being heard. But again, if it's up to the local school district and we're given the option, our community transmission rate has been very low. Therefore, I'm comfortable only recommending masks to start the school year. Again, if there's a mandate coming down by the state, or if our community transmission rate goes through the roof, that may change. As I get to that, I will tell you that our reopening team is going to continue to meet on a monthly basis, a little bit more frequently than we did last year, and we're going to continue to monitor the community transmission rate, take a look at state and local guidance, and more importantly, see what's going on in our community around us. Continue to pay attention to what's going on around us, because that's very important. And we may make adjustments as the school year goes on, or we may loosen up in other areas. It just depends on things are going. So, like I said, included in this message, in this email, you should receive a letter from me called the reopening letter, which has a summary of some of the things I just talked about. And then there's a 31-page reopening document. You're welcome to read that. The reopening team has met over the last 2 weeks. They have had a copy of this prior to going out to the community. The Board of Education has had a copy of this prior to going out to the community. So I want to make sure that everybody knows what we're planning as we're starting our 2021-2022 school year. Again, we'll be doing a brief presentation. If you want to see the presentation, you can check the district's YouTube page. This coming board meeting on the 24th of Tuesday at 6 o'clock. I'll be presenting this in a slide format, so it'll be a little bit more of a summary, but I'll reiterate some of these. If there's any changes between now and then, that will be communicated at that board meeting, and you're welcome to view it online or in person. Again, I will continue to be the contact person for all things regarded to this reopening plan for the Wilson Central School District, and I'll make sure that we're in compliance and we're going to follow best practices, state and federal guidelines, and more importantly, do what we believe is best for our community and for our school. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can email me at tcarter@wilsoncsd.org. That is also on the webpage. Or you can call me at 751-9399. If you have to leave a message, don't worry, we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Schedules are a little crazy between now and the beginning of the school year, but we're going to do our absolute best to begin this school, what I think is the primary goal, getting our kids back 5 days a week. Again, you have any questions, please give me a call. If not, please enjoy the rest of your summer, and school year is going to come around quickly.